What's up, everybody? My name is Senkara. I don't know what that was, but welcome back to Crimson Grey. We are going to find out what's wrong with Lizzie. And if you would like to find out what's wrong with Lizzie, then please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Be sure to join the Discord server, link at the bottom of the description. And I'll stop leaving it on a cliffhanger. I'm just kidding, we're leaving it on a cliffhanger. But not right now. Let's get into it. Let's find out. Is something wrong? She's not sick, is she? Yes, in the head. We already know that. It isn't that kind of test. It only takes a snapshot of a person's current condition. Is your friend going through a difficult time right now? Well, I mean, maybe a little. Just a little? Just a little? These are some extraordinary numbers. Most people only see those briefly during the worst days of their lives. Take care of her until things pass, alright? This too shall pass. Okay. There's something else I have to ask. It won't be comfortable, but it's necessary. Have you ever gotten the sense that she might hurt herself or anyone else? Well, I mean, I don't really think she would, but it's a possibility. No, I can't imagine her doing anything like that. The lie was out of his mouth before he had even consciously decided to lie. John regretted it immediately, yet now it was too late to contradict himself. The pharmacist grunted and looked over his papers. Well, keep a close eye on her. Even the gentlest person could be capable of violence under conditions like these. Good to know! Is it really that bad? I thought she seemed better lately. No, there must be some recent trauma she hasn't told you about. I'm certain of it. I mean, someone with numbers like these, this many numbers, regularly, they would be completely incurable, insane probably, and definitely a threat to society. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to imply anything. I'm sure she'll work through things and go back to normal soon. I mean, we can only hope, but I don't think so. So can you prescribe anything? Numbers like what? What is this test showing? What are numbers about? What? I can give you 2 weeks of either Yandere or Nilazine. That should get her over the rough patch. Just 2 weeks? Can't you prescribe more? 2 weeks should be enough if that's what he says. Not without a much more extensive evaluation. But like I said, that's all you'll need. I'm sure she'll recover soon. I have my doubts. I really should be asking her directly, but in her present condition, I think it would be safer to bend the rules and let you act like a family member. Right, good idea. I don't think she would. That bit of the music, sorry, gets me every time. So which one do you think would be best for her? Yandere. That's what someone in the comments said. Was it King Golden or Andre? I remember it was a while ago, sorry, but Yandere, the Pokemon. I don't know anything about these drugs. I'm gonna trust you guys and click Yandere. And if this screws us over, I'm blaming you. I'm gonna hold it on you. I'm gonna hold it on you. You ever said that? I'll look it up, and I'm holding it on you. Yandere. 2 weeks of Yandere coming up. I mean, why is he asking me? How would I know? Try to help her rest, okay? Okay! Yeah, okay. What does he expect me to say? I'm not a doctor. What? Heading outside, John handed the bag to Lizzie. He had pushed pretty hard to get to this point, but he would never force her to take the medication. His father had used to talk like he didn't have a choice about depression medication. Practically threatened to force feed him. John refused to do that to anyone else. But Lizzie didn't make an issue of it at all. She did say she'd take anything I gave her. Smiling at him, she opened the bag, shook out one of the pills and swallowed it without even taking a drink. What a beast! She'd given the label a careful look though. Why is that? Okay, I hope you can love me now, John. Lizzie, no, I never meant anything like that. Please don't. That didn't taste bad at all. So can we get on with our date now, John? Can we? Oh, you're so precious. Too precious. Oh, the world went blurry. He wanted to go back to what she had said, reassure her that he meant nothing wrong by it, but his words stuck in his mouth. Maybe on some level he did mean to force it. Maybe he was repeating everything that had been done to him. Oh man. But with Lizzie smiling at him like that, he couldn't fall too far into depression. Instead, John smiled back and gestured her to follow. Oh, she's so lovely! Ah! Without any great ideas, John thought they should go to the park. Their town had a pretty nice park, and it was usually empty this time of day. His friends always said that a movie was the best first date. That's never true. It's not. Like, you can't talk to each other at the movies. Like, that's not. That's an old cliche. It's not true. Don't first date movies. It's not a good idea. Anyway, but he suspected they mostly wanted to try Copperfield. Yeah. Besides, he was worried Lizzie would end up watching him instead of the movie. Oh, most definitely. Of course. In the park, Lizzie happily skipped along the paths, often looking back to him, but at least looking at a lot of other things. Park is a much better idea for the first date, in my opinion, and I believe a lot of people would agree with me. As he watched, he realized that he was definitely more stable than usual. Yeah, I've noticed that. She was definitely more stable. I've noticed that too, yeah. She stayed cheerful and sweet without any threats of violence. Could it really be the Yandere? No, not that quickly. That seems unlikely. Maybe. I don't know how Yandere works, but I don't think so. With him, the Paxatine had taken weeks to work, and whether or not it actually helped had been really unclear. Then again, Lizzie was her own case. I'm pretty sure it's just being with you, John. Like, I don't think it's the Yandere. She hasn't threatened violence since the time you were on the roof, has she? Of course it... breathed in air. You always breathe in air. Breathed it in wrong. Tickled my throat. Of course, it took more than medicine to cure a serious condition. He knew that all too well. As Mrs. Smith had said, therapy was also an important component of recovery. It's not spelled with a TH, I almost said it like that though. Hers had certainly helped him a lot. The third main component was a social network, and there he completely failed to take her advice. He still spent most of his time alone or in meaningless old relationships. Oh yeah. But hey, now he was walking in a park with a girl his age. Maybe things were looking up. I reckon. And for once in his life, things went his way. Lizzie was happy to eat fast food for lunch and didn't even try to feed him anything. Awesome! Afterward, he was pretty much out of plans and Lizzie didn't want to stop. Fortunately, she was happy to drag him around town to see random things. In a way, he was grateful for that. He had spent all his energy for making decisions during the morning. It was so easy to just glide along in her wake. In that way, she was a good match for him. I vibe that, hell yeah. You go, Lizzie. When the sun started setting, John was actually surprised. Had the day really passed by that quickly? He could barely drag himself through a lot of weekends. This was a welcome change. I said that weird, but it's okay. Holy shit, is that John? Is this classmate 1 my friend classmate 1, or a different classmate 1? Presumably that would be classmate 3. With a girl? Nani? I've been with a girl for like all week, but you know. Hey guys, Lizzie does not look pleased about this interruption, and neither does the music. Oh dear. Is that the crazy chick you told me about? Classmate number 3. When did we have 3 friends? What saw this? Oh, they told him. Right. Oh yeah, that's definitely her. Are you that desperate, John? Don't be a dick. Ugh. Ooh. Oh, she looks super cute like that though. At least it's not Yandere eyes. There's light in those eyes. Given how much of a sad sack he's been lately, I'm pretty sure he is. Do any of you have girlfriends? Oof! Got him! Yeah. You guys talk so much shit. Just leave Lizzie out of it, okay? Or you might die. Oh, fuck you, John. If she wasn't crazy, you could never get a girl as cute as her. I disagree. Maybe. Lizzie's great, okay? She is pretty hot. I don't get why she's with you. Yeah, this really doesn't make any sense. Oh, John, are you going to cry? Better not, or she'll realize how pathetic you are. I think if I cried, Lizzie would actually murder you. So don't do that. Don't encourage it. His positive mood was completely gone. Yeah. He knew he should check to see how Lizzie was taking the mocking, but it was the most he could do not to fall into a mire of self-hatred. Why do these people have to be such assholes? As always, he felt like he should be stronger than this, less emotionally fragile, and that just added to his self-hatred. If it had been anyone else, he might have crashed completely, but he knew these guys, and he was at least familiar with their attitudes. John pulled himself together and faked a smile at them. Sounds like sour grapes to me. You all have fun with each other, okay? Come on, let's get out of here. Yeah, I feel that. Like, I get that. I used to date a girl. She wasn't crazy. Like, wasn't that much issue with her. But just that these two particular people didn't like her, and they were always, like, telling me shit, and it was really annoying, and I hated it. And this reminds me of that, and it's like, shut the fuck up, oh my goodness. Lizzie's a lovely person, I don't care if she's insane. She's brilliant. She cares. That's why he's with her. And he's not in the good place too, so they're perfect for each other. They scoffed, but he didn't care. Taking her hand, he walked as fast as he dared out of the alleyway. When they were a safe distance away, he finally glanced at Lizzie and shivered. Her eyes were staring intensely at nothing, and she was gnawing on one knuckle. Was there blood running down her finger? That's pretty intense. Abruptly, she squeezed his hand, then swept both her hands behind her back and smiled at him. What? How? Okay, cool. That was really sweet of you, John. You're always so nice. Don't let those guys bother you. They say a lot of stuff, but it doesn't mean anything. Is your finger okay? It looked like... I'm okay, John. Don't worry. Well, should we just keep going? Okay. But they hadn't gotten far before John realized that he couldn't follow up on that. He had pulled himself together long enough to walk away, but now he had nothing left. It was all too much. He wasn't usually outside in public this much, and though being with Lizzie wasn't bad, he wasn't stable enough for this much interaction. Ugh! That's so frustrating! It frustrates me! Breathed in water that time. And, he's fine. Anyway, John, are you okay? I'm tired. I think I need to go home. Is something wrong? Did I do something wrong? No. I can see the tremor in her voice. He could hear the tremor in her voice. Knew she needed affirmation, but the apathy was choking him to death. He had no energy for anyone else. No energy for anything but getting back home, curling up and wishing he was dead. That's not a good idea. Just stay with her, okay? Stay with her. Somehow he said goodbye. Found the bus, and got all the way back home. The events passed like he was suffocating in gauze. The world around him too unreal to have any effect. Maybe he should have reassured Lizzie, but it didn't matter. He was an idiot for thinking he could help her. Nothing he did mattered. Oh, no! Ugh! It always comes slower than I think, jeez. Sunday was a miserable slog through every second. John gave up on accomplishing anything whatsoever and just lay in bed feeling worse about himself. Well, you know, that probably isn't helping. Don't do that, John. Don't do that. He fell asleep early and woke up early in the morning, not feeling better. That was impossible after a day wallowing in himself, but suddenly his energy was back. If he needed it, because he hadn't accomplished anything, he'd needed... What? And he needed it, because he hadn't accomplished anything he'd needed to do over the weekend. He set to work feverishly on Monday's homework. No, you did. You took Lizzie and got her tested and stuff. Gave her some drugs. Don't do drugs, kids. By the time he needed to go to school, his eyes were gritty and his good mood was gone. But he was ready, high-functioning. John sighed and headed to school, a high-functioning sociopath. Where's Lizzie at? He was actually shocked not to see Lizzie. I was just thinking that. Not even watching him from a distance. But after that weekend, it would be awkward to hang out with his friends. So he ended up spending most of the day alone. No, where's Lizzie? He'd probably think she was put off and now doesn't want to talk to him, which I highly doubt is true. But, where is she though? At lunch, he decided he might as well go up to the roof again, and he found Lizzie already there. Oh, hey sweetie, alright? Hi Lizzie. I'm sorry if I was a jerk on Saturday. No, you're not at fault. I am. No, they are. Wait, what? Part of me is gone now. It was dangerous, but it was part of me. What? That sounds like a good thing. If it were dangerous. She stood up and looked at him, and he realized that she was standing at the very edge. The last time they had stood up there, their positions had been reversed, and he hoped that wasn't a bad omen. Please don't die. All I want is to be with you, John. For us to be together. I would do anything to make that happen. Anything. But I don't think I could hurt someone. Not anymore. It feels so strange. But that's good! That's good! Medication can make you feel strange for a while, but you don't like violence, do you? Do you want me to be different? I don't want you to be different. I want you to be better for yourself. I don't want to say I want her to be better because that's a bit like but like I want you to be healthy and in a good state of mind, and that's not different. That's better for you. It's better for you, and you should get help. Not because I want you to be different, because I want to help you, Lizzie, because I love Lizzie. He knew he should answer, but his throat felt so dry, and his mind was numb. Damn it! I'll change myself for you, John. If that's what it takes for us to be together, I'll change however you need me to. Is there a part of me you don't like? I'll get rid of it. I'll tear it out. I'll cut it away right now. John knew that he needed to say something to reassure her, to stop her from going down that self-destructive path, but he couldn't bring himself to speak. Instead, he stepped forward and embraced her. Oh, that works. Lizzie gave a soft gasp and wrapped her arms around her torso. But she pushed into him. Oh, right, I did it. Her head nuzzling against his chin. Oh, sweetie. Just stay with me, okay? Please promise me you won't ever leave. He nodded, and she gave a happy squeal. Aww. But his mouth was still far too dry to speak. Sounds like somebody needs hydration. Oh, the sun's out at night again. What a strange phenomenon. On Tuesday, John and Lizzie ate lunch together as if everything was normal. Ah, that's good. And, in some bizarre way, it really was. Sometimes all you need is a good hug. Perhaps due to the medication, she seemed so much more stable than before. She was sweet and kind at all times, always considerate and affectionate. Yet there was the occasional moment where she still seemed a little obsessed. The slightest positive comment from him would be interpreted as a sign of their distant love. Yeah, sounds like it. But all in all, John was happier than he had been in a long time. His classmates even stopped messing with him about Lizzie, though he wasn't sure if that was because she seemed normal or because they were afraid of her. By the way, yet he wasn't, not really. He had a hard time believing that anyone could really love him, yet it seemed that Lizzie truly did. If anything, he worried that he could never love her back that intensely. Yeah, that's an issue. He had an appointment scheduled with Mrs. Smith on Wednesday. Yet for once when he walked into her office, it didn't feel like he desperately needed it. Oh, yay! Ready for your session today, John? Oh, you bet I am! Actually, I'm feeling really good. Maybe we should skip today's. That's not the point of therapy. You need to go even when you're feeling good, just to make sure we know why, and if you're actually better. You should know better than that. If I stop the treatment that's making you feel better, you might have another relapse. It's not the treatment, it's the Lizzie. No, you're right, sorry. Yeah, of course. Don't be sorry. Just lie down and take a load off. So how have you been doing lately? Well, I'm okay, I guess. That's better than most weeks, so it looks like you're making progress. By the way, I've seen you pass with a girl. Are you two dating? Wow. She sort of started, maybe something like that. That's probably how I would respond. Maybe something like that. That's probably good for you. You need more relationships. Yes. But I have to ask, have the two of you been intimate? Why? How can you ask that? I'm not teasing you. This is a very serious question. You'd better not be leading up to giving me a lecture about safe sex or abstinence or anything. So should I take that as a no? Yes. No. We haven't done anything like that. It's good to hear that you're at least expressing interest. Koitek got back about erosipim, and it's still decades from viability, so we don't have a solid option for libido issues. But we haven't been intimate, and that's probably good, because that means you can focus more on the emotional stuff, which is what John needs. Can we talk about something else? Anything else? Sorry to make you uncomfortable, John, but I do need to be concerned about your welfare in all respects. To that end, I need to ask one more question. Has the girl ever displayed any strange behavior? Erratic tendencies? What kind of behavior? Dodge the question. Whoopah! Here comes the question, Whoopah! Dodged! Probably not, but... well, for example, fixations bordering on serious OCD. Maybe violent tendencies, mood swings. I don't know about OCD, but... those are pretty specific symptoms. Is something wrong? Here comes the question, Whoopah! Dodge! Yeah, got him. No, just covering the bases. I can't believe you'd think that kind of thing about Lizzie. I'm not being rude, John. This is important. You see, I looked up that girl's records, and to my surprise, I actually knew her mother. Kit? You knew Lizzie's mother? Yes, Abby Doss took part in one of our early clinical trials. She was one of the women who had to be removed from the study when we learned that they had lied about being pregnant at the time. Oh, shit. That's probably not good. Plus, I thought she displayed addictive tendencies. I understand she began abusing prescription painkillers later in life too. The poor girl probably had a hard childhood. Yeah. So anyway, I just hope that the girl turned out alright. Any drugs taken while someone is in utero can have permanent long-term impacts, so I'm glad the girl turned out normal. Well, maybe not, should have dodged the question. Dodge, I'm too good at dodging, my reflexes are just amazing. Moving on, damn it! You seem so much better. I assume the issue of the emotional greyness took care of itself. Well, my vision is still very grey, but I guess. Mrs. Smith seemed so positive. He couldn't bring herself to... My words get stuck in my throat when that part of the music comes. Ah! Mrs. Smith seemed so positive. He couldn't bring himself to tell her the truth, because despite the general improvement in his life, that aspect of it had not. Lizzie was a single spot of colour in his world, but the rest was even greyer than before. The rest of their session passed in a grey blur. Damn it! and we were going so well. When it was over, John was in a strange mood. He felt a little bitter, but not much. Usually after a therapy session, he floated in empty tranquility, but now his mind was racing. Fair enough. He impatiently sat through his next class, but his mind was on what Mrs. Smith had said about Lizzie's mother. Could that be part of the reason for her instability? When he had a free period, John headed straight to the library and tried to look up past incidents. It was hard to find information on Koitek's old trials, but when he eventually gave in and looked at the microfilm, he actually found some relevant articles. He knew that Lizzie had been born in 1972. Geez, she must be a bit old. So he was able to skim back to around that time the time she had been born. He actually found the birth announcement in the local paper easily. Really? But for the rest, he was left searching aimlessly through shitty local articles. So what date is it now? What year is it meant to be now? And then, all at once, it was easy. There was a series of articles that took his research from boring whim to something that had him on edge of his seat. Me too. Oh boy. Apparently, before it was called Koitek, the company had been called PharmaVax. They rebranded after a series of drug recalls that ruined their reputation. Oh dear. John sat back, unable to read any further. Was that really the explanation? It felt so cheap. It was easy to presume that did I just say knees? Don't get distracted by my knees like I did. Oh my goodness. It was easy to presume that Lizzie's mother had been involved in one of the recalled PharmaVax trials, and her unborn child must have suffered the consequences. Could that really have imbalanced Lizzie this way? If so, that meant that this was no phase she was going through. If her early development had been altered, she was probably this way for life. Yet the second emotion he felt was anger. Anger that Mrs. Smith or anyone else could think Lizzie was just some freak chemical accident. It was too much like the scorn that had heaped on him for his depression. Whatever her problems, Lizzie was a person who deserved respect. Help, but respect before anything else. Depression was quickly followed on the heels of his anger. Unable to deal with any more of those thoughts, John had just walked out without even replacing the microfilm. He drifted through the rest of the day, still stewing over what he'd learned. At times, he could almost convince himself that this was a good thing. Another item in my inventory. I get so many from this game. If drugs had unbalanced Lizzie, maybe they could balance her again. He could almost imagine them together, helping each other. Maybe even getting married. That would be nice. When she passed him in the hallway, her eyes lit up. Not in mere elation, but with burning intensity. Okay. In that moment, John was sure that Lizzie couldn't be cured. The question was, did he want her to be? What? Of course he wants her to be well. I hate to end it here, but this does seem like a really good spot to end. Does he want her to be? What do you guys think? Do you want her to be? I know you guys like yanderes, and if she's cured, would she still be a yandere? I personally want her to be cured. I love Lizzie, and I actually do want to help her, and realistically, I don't think, I don't think, marrying a psychopath is probably a good thing. It could be bad, but I do love Lizzie. She's actually a really great person, but hey, that's yanderes for you. Hard not to love them. So if you love yanderes and you love Lizzie, then be sure to subscribe for more. Hit the bell icon below to be notified of when the next video is. And leave a like and subscribe. Drop us a comment, tell me what you thought, join the Discord server, link bottom of the description. And thank you all so much for watching. My name has been Senkara, and until next time, get your nose there. Boop! I don't know. See ya.